Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Doodle Robot, and today I'm going to cover with you how I color rocks in my mythographic coloring book. I'm also going to be doing, it doesn't really have an official title, so I kind of made one. This is from the Manity ever. Her spouse came up with some Star Wars questions for Star Wars Day that she wanted people to answer. Doesn't have a tag name, so I'm going to call it, I don't know, unofficially the Star Wars tag, I guess. And so while I'm coloring some rocks and talking about some other things, we'll answer the Star Wars questions because, you know, sci-fi geek here, I got to do that. So in my last video, we were doing the mythographic book. It was the birthday bonanza tag, I think is what it was called. And I was basing, just so I would have something to do that was easy while I was talking, because I can't talk and color at the same time. It's really hard. So I was basing all these rocks in blue, probably terrifying everybody to death. But here is what they look like when they're colored here. I like this because up here we have a similar color in the sky, and so we have some unity there in our composition. So, but before we get to that, I just want to show you. Here I based stuff with my Ohuhu water-based markers. I just have the 100 pack, and I've had them for about a year. And I've had them for a year. I'm just now getting a little more brave and confident with them and using them a little bit more here and there. They've been here the whole time, you know, taunting me to use them. Now, I would normally base my rocks and other things, depending on what I'm coloring. Normally, I would just use the Prismacolors to base stuff in, but this is like a little quicker and a little easier. And I'll show you some other examples I have here of where I've based rocks with different colors. Now in the mythographic, I've based them all with the same color, and they're all going to be done with the same top coat, which I'll show you in a second. But in Be Relaxed in Color, illustrated by Angela Porter, in my kind of, I think of it as Asian-inspired landscape here, although it's very stylized. I've based the rocks, camera wiggle. I've based the rocks here in different colors. The stones here are all different colors. We've got a red or pink undertone, a blue undertone, lime peel in the Prismacolor set is one of my favorite colors to base things with. Blue, also blue is another favorite to base rocks with. And then these stones over here, one was green, one was kind of probably lime peel. Maybe that one was lime peel. Some various blues. And then I just go over the top with various grays or even browns. But then the base coat will poke through and you get that variety of different rock looks. I've done the same thing in Starry Skies by Angela Porter again. I don't have that many Angela Porter books, so it's kind of odd that two of my examples would be Angela Porter. I didn't do it here on the cliff face, but you can see here in these like very abstracted, I don't know, hills or something. I did do undertones and then put grays on top. I did it also with the lighthouse. There's a blue undertone with gray on top of the lighthouse as well. And those were done, the bases or the undertones were just done with Prismacolors there as well. And lastly, we have Seasons by Hannah Carlson. Again, a bunch of little rocks. These were the only ones I could think of that I had rocks in. Again, I want the rocks to be different. So some have pink undertones, and I would pick, this is probably key, pick colors to base your rocks in with colors that are already on the page. So I used a blue from here. I used some purples from here. Okay. I used some greens because there's kind of green there, although that's paint. But different bases of colors that are already in the page to base my rocks, and then go over them with just grays. It's super simple. And then you get a variety of different color rocks. They all have a gray tinge to them though, and thus hopefully look harmonious. So let's see here. All right, let's get set up here. Let's zoom you out and show you what we're doing here. So continuing from the last video, Birthday Bonanza, where I was basing things, I had already based my mushrooms, the orange variety of mushrooms. There's going to be, I think, 3 different varieties of mushrooms, thus they'll all be 3 different colors. I based that in my Hoo-Hoo number 5. Can we see that? Will it focus? I did it up here too. I've already done the colors up here though with Prismacolor. And the colors I used for that were these. I used a little bit of pumpkin orange. I'll just say them. It's too hard for the camera to focus. Orange. Oh, pale vermilion before orange. Yellow to orange and Spanish orange. And then this for a little tinge of green in my yellow. Yellow chartreuse. And those are the colors I did on the mushrooms there. And they're going to be, all these mushrooms that are based in orange are going to be the same type of mushroom. What are these? The gills, the underside of the mushroom will be, I'll use some of these darker oranges, but I'm also going to put more maybe reds or orange browns or red browns in there, and that'll be dark, and so will the stems. But it'll still be in the same colorway. It'll be darker in some areas. All right, so for the rocks, I based them in this very scary blue. I mean, it looks really scary on the page, but I did test it in the back here. I tested number 34, a Hoo-Hoo water-based marker, and 89. And 89 was the winner, so I decided to do that here because I like that this is going to look like this up here in the sky. So we're having a little bit of unity there in our picture. So I've done some. Often, if I have the energy on the weekends, I do this a lot, I will set myself up for the week. 'Cause during the week, when I come home from work, I'm exhausted, and it's really hard for me to be at all creative. So I've set myself up that during the week when I'm tired and I've been multitasking all day at school and I'm ready to come home and not multitask and just do one thing at a time, you know, I can color, I can work on the rocks, I can work on the mushrooms because I have those planned out. They're based. All I have to do is pick up the pencils and start coloring with them, especially at the end of the year here when I'm just kind of running on fumes. So let's do a little rock here, and I'll show you how that's done. The top of the rock, so like I said, the base was the Hoo-Hoo 89. The top of the rocks are my cool grays. I've just got 3. It's so simple. 90% cool gray, 50% cool gray, and 10% cool gray is what's going to make up the rocks. Now, the rocks are very blue-based gray, but we could say they're blue-gray. And the grass is green. So my thinking, you know, you have your cool colors, green and blue, those are cool colors. Those tend to recede. I want to use bright, warm colors for all the mushrooms and stuff because I want those to kind of pop out against the background because warm colors come to the forefront. So that was kind of my thinking when I set up this page. So while we answer our Star Wars questions, we will do a bit of coloring. I have to get the camera angled so that I don't hit my head on it. I can see what I'm doing. It's not that easy. It seems like it would be easy, but it's not. Okay, and I can still talk and be in frame. No, we're not in frame. Okay, here we go. We're in frame. All right, so I'm going to do this little rock here. Okay. So, Star Wars question number 1. What race has my favorite visual design? So, in first place, so I'm going to put you know, Kirby's told us that the darks are down here. And I mean, if the light is over here, the light's going to be at the top of the rock. So it's pretty straightforward coloring here. Except I don't have the right glasses on to be able to see. Hold on. Okay. All right, so I really like the it was the Camino, I wrote it down. I wrote stuff down on the last thing and then didn't even bother to look at the paper when I was answering stuff. Camino world, where the clones were created. Those are very interesting creatures, I think. They had a very cool look about them. They look like my idea of aliens. The other alien, probably second place, would be the Liku? The leeks? They're the ones that have kind of the tail head, the tail things on their heads. I like the look of those too. They look really good. Alright, so I brought my brush. Where is it? Okay, so we're just going to do this little area here, I think, which will give you the idea. It's probably a lot of dark there. Alright, that was 90% gray. Now we're switching to 50% gray. The grays smush together really well in Prismacolor, so you don't really have to worry too much about that. And then 10% gray at the top here, which is where you're going to really be able to see the blue. It also gives you hints of purple too. So the undertones are quite interesting in these grays mixed with the blue basing. Okay, so we'll continue on. Question number 2. Old or new movies and why? Well, I rather like them all. I couldn't really pick. I think, of course, nothing is going to compare to the magic of the original. That first one, A New Hope, which is now number 4. I was already a well-confirmed Trekkie by then. I was racing home every day to see Star Trek, and oh my gosh, Battlestar Galactica, those were so good, and there weren't that many sci-fi. I didn't know it at the time, but I was a sci-fi geek already. I like to have high contrast. So where the light part of my grass is, I like to put the dark of the rock. And then they're gonna pop against each other. I'm just doing a little fading of the color here. Okay. So why do I like both the old and new movies? Well, my favorite movie of the original 3 was the first one. They were all good. I really liked Empire Strikes Back as well. It was just dark and it was interesting, and we found out that, you know, Luke was the son of Darth Vader. And when the next 3 came out, oh, I did not like that first one because that little kid. I don't want to bash him, not the actor. It wasn't his fault. But it's just like, okay, kids. I'm a teacher. Kids can't really do any of that stuff he was purported to be able to do. So I thought it was quite unrealistic. But you know, it was good. I loved Obi-Wan Kenobi. That actor was great, high caliber actor there. I like Natalie. Wait, what was her name? Whatever her name was, the princess lady or the senator. What was she? No, she was the queen. Liked her. But my favorite, once there were only 6, my favorite movie of the 6 became the 3rd movie, which was Revenge of the Sith. I wrote it down over here so I could remember what they were. Because when I'm talking and coloring, I can't do that. We cannot multitask like that. All right, so let's do another easy rock for TV here. What's an easy one? Right here. But you're not in camera there. There we go. Okay. I like Revenge of the Sith because that's where Darth Vader becomes Darth Vader, basically. And I like the whole fight on the lava. There's lots of good fights in that one. The lava planet. You know, it was just a good bridge movie between that and number 4. And then when the last 3 came out, those are my favorites now. Not one of them. All of them together are my favorites. So I'm counting basically 7, 8, and 9. They're a trilogy, so I'm just counting them all together as kind of one whole movie, just that took place over a few years. Because I love the character arcs in that one. With the romance and this poor girl who's getting stalked through the universe by Kylo Ren. Yeah, I like that there's a girl wielding the lightsaber. Finally, I was waiting for that since I was 10 and the first movie came out. I mean, Princess Leia was awesome, but she never got to play with the lightsaber, you know. So I've been waiting for that since I was 10. So I like them all. And as new trilogies came out, each one became my favorite. All right. Have I read the books or comics? No, I've not read any books or comics. I'm kind of just a movie person, a movie and TV show person. When I read, I do love to read, but I generally stick to not sci-fi stuff because it's hard to find sci-fi stuff that I like to read, although I've read quite a few things, but it never sticks. I generally read murder mysteries when I read. What food do I wish I could eat from Star Wars? I don't recall there being anything very appetizing looking in Star Wars. The only thing I remember is from the first movie, which is number 4, A New Hope, that I really rather liked. Aunt Beru was making something in these machines. It looked like it was a juicer. So I'm gonna switch to coloring one of the mushrooms here. All right, let's get the right colors here. So I guess that would be whatever Luke and Aunt Beru were eating and making in the first movie from 1977. That whatever that was, I guess. I didn't pay a lot of attention to the food in Star Wars. There's much more interesting food in Star Trek. What would my pod racer look like? Oh, okay. I like to stick with the classics, so I drew you a little picture of what my pod racer would look like. Is that right there? It's the classic, little UFO thing with just like the little green alien with like big eyes. Yeah, that's what it would look like. All right, what are we on? Number 6. Who is the character I love to hate? Well, you could probably guess because it's my, sorry, I'll move you down a little bit. It's my new trilogy favorite. Kylo Ren. I gotta say, the caliber of actors in the last trilogy was really high. Like, whoever that actor was really good. I don't know his name. I can't think of it. I should have written that down so then I could not look at it on the paper here, but. All right. Alright, so that was pale vermilion. Now I'm going to use orange. Orange. Number 7. What is my favorite bit of Star Wars trivia? Oh, that's a good question, because actually it took me a while to think of something. But I always like to look at the making of things, especially special effects and anything that would require like sculpting, because I've been teaching, well, drawing and painting, but all of my jobs entailed teaching sculpting as well. In the pod races, all the people in the stands, they made like a teeny little version to film of that. They were actually made of little colored Q-tips. And then they just panned over it. Oh gosh, which one's darker? I think yellow to orange is darker. Yellow to orange. Okay. So I find that fascinating, that all those people cheering and all those beings cheering in the stands were just little colored Q-tips. Made on a tiny, tiny level. Okay. Number 8. What would make me hesitate to be a Jedi? Absolutely nothing. If that were a thing, I would drop everything and do that. The thing that appeals to me about it is it's very much like another big show from my childhood, which was Kung Fu with David Carradine. They seem like they're, pretty much exactly like that. To give up all possessions and, attachments, and including, you can't marry and stuff like that. I'd be okay with that. You just have to learn to channel that other energy. So I'd do that in a heartbeat. There's nothing that would, the only thing that might daunt me is the lightsaber, because, if you open that thing the wrong way, you're gonna stab a hole in yourself or chop off your fingers or something like that. Those things are dangerous. Anyway, number 9, what makes Star Wars special to me? And if I had to pick one thing, why do I like Star Wars? Well, like I said, I was already a sci-fi geek when Star Wars came out. I didn't know it, but I was. We didn't have terms for it at the time. So, I was primed and ready to go for that awesomeness that came out. Are you even in camera here? So, when it came out, though, it changed everything. I didn't mind the side of the special effects in like Battlestar Galactica and Star Trek. They were fine to me. I was a very imaginative child, as you can imagine. But Star Wars came out and it had these amazing special effects. And the script was so good, and it was such an exciting adventure, and the sounds and the whole thing just flipped me over the edge of sci-fi geek there. From there, it was a done deal. There was no going back at that point. So, I was 10 when that movie came out. And, another thing that, makes it so special is it was a family event. Like, everybody in the family liked it. Mom, Dad, me, sister, everybody liked it. My sister can do all the impressions of the actors. And even though she's not a sci-fi geek, but she still likes Star Wars. So let's see here. Number 10. Do I have a favorite character and why? Well, I really like Yoda. I really like Rey. I really like Grogu. But I'm going to have to go with my favorite character. A very close tie to Yoda would probably have to be Obi-Wan Kenobi. and I am waiting with bated breath for that TV show to come out. I've waited through, I didn't really care about The Mandalorian, although Grogu was super cute. I didn't care about Boba Fett. It's like, where's the Obi-Wan Kenobi show? That's the show I want. So I guess I'd have to give the winning position to Obi-Wan Kenobi. All right, so we've covered basically how to do the little rocks, even though they're based with this very scary blue that you wouldn't think would work, but it's going to work. And we did a couple of the mushrooms. These mushrooms are so tiny that I'm going to put the white spots on them just after. I don't want to try to work around those. All right, so I thank you for joining me. I appreciate your time. I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you next time. Live long and prosper. Bye-bye.